Hey family, it's Netta with Black Lives Count. I'm back at you with another video. So family, I'm talking about the situation where the UN, Ghana, requested to, sequester the UN for reparations or for acknowledgement of slavery, the transatlantic slave trade being the worst crimes against humanity ever, even topping the Holocaust. Okay, so that says that our ancestors in the transatlantic slave trade suffered more abuse and unalivings and raping and everything that they suffered than any people anywhere in the world. Okay, so that says a lot about the European nations that benefited from slavery and were able to become whole. They were able to become nations, great nations, because of the contributions of with the slave trade from foundational Black Americans. So this is the issue, though. So when they voted for every country's stance on was it the greatest atrocity. So, and we're going to get into something else in a minute, but first I want to discuss this part of it. So when they voted, each country voted what they felt. So I'm going to tell you something. There were many countries that abstained from voting, and then there were a few countries that voted no. So you probably already know this, but we're going to get into it anyway, and let's get into it together. So the thing that I have issue with is that a lot of Black Americans are traveling now worldwide. We're going everywhere. I myself, a couple of the countries that refrained from voting, I myself wanted to go to a few of them, but now they will never get $1 of my money of me going into a country that either, because I'm already living in one that voted no, but going into a country that either voted no or either voted refrained from voting at all because they don't want to be held liable. It shows very much disgrace and indignity, and no one wants to take responsibility for what has occurred to Black people. So let me, and friends, I gotta put on my grandma glasses now, because otherwise I won't be able to see what I'm trying to read. And many of you can understand where I'm coming from, okay? Sister got to be able to see. Okay, so, the three countries that declined and said absolutely not were the United States, which is no surprise, Israel, which is definitely no surprise, and Argentina, okay? But the other countries that refrained from voting at all, so they don't want to say yes, they don't want to say no, which at least how people say, if I'm going to deal with a racist, I'd rather deal with a blatant racist that's in your face racism because you know where they're coming from, rather than dealing with somebody who you don't know where they're coming from and what they are capable of doing to you, but they will come and pretend to be your friend and then turn on you like a snarling crazed wolf, as soon as you turn your back. So the thing is, Black people should know the countries that are not apologetic, are not sorry, are not going to own up, are not going to accept any responsibility, and then they should know the countries that are absolutely not taking it seriously. So the countries that refrained are Albania, Andorra, Armenia, Austria, Belgium, Bosnia, Bulgaria, Cambodia, Canada, Croatia, Cyprus, Czechia, Denmark, Estonia, Fiji. That was one of my bucket lists, but it's not anymore. Finland, France, Georgia, Germany, Greece. I wanted to go to Greece at one time. No, thank you. Italy, Japan. I was so shocked. I really wanted to go to Japan next year, but I don't think I'm going to do it now. I really don't. I'm not giving my money to anybody who doesn't like black people. Latvia, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Monaco, Montenegro, Netherlands, New Zealand, North Mac, Norway, Oman, Palau, Paraguay, Poland, Portugal, Republic of Morocco, Romania, San Marino, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Ukraine, and the United Kingdom, which I never had a desire to go there. So those are all the countries that refrained from voting at the UN. So they don't want to accept any responsibility. And see, I know a lot of black people that like to travel to, a lot of European countries. A lot of you do. And what we have to understand is that these people really don't want our money, and they don't want us in their countries. And so we should not go to these countries and give them our money, since they are refraining to openly admit that the transatlantic slave trade was the most atrocious thing that occurred on the face of this earth. They don't, because they were raping children, mothers, sons, fathers. They were using children as gator bait. They would play some kind of golf game and bury little black children in the ground and only have their heads above the ground and do all kind of evil, wicked things. Not to mention, there's a book. They eat us like we're a delicacy. They're still doing that to this day. They're still doing that to this day. So I would say, black people, there are 54 African countries. There are black Caribbean countries. There are other countries where there are indigenous people that look like us on the list who voted yes. Visit those countries. There were many of them who voted, and you can easily go and get the list of the countries that voted. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to take that hard to get it. But if you travel, you should make sure that all of those ones on the list that either didn't vote or voted no, those are countries that you really don't want to visit. Now, if you living in one of those countries, then unfortunately, that's it, because I'm living in one. Okay, I'm living in the United States, and yeah, it doesn't surprise me the way they voted. See, family, what we have to do as black people is to understand that if people don't want our money, don't want us, we should be fine with that. Take your money elsewhere. We should not be arguing and fighting with people trying to convince them to take our money. Don't do it. Don't do it, because it does not benefit our community. What it benefits is that community that's not only making the money off of you, but then they're allowed to mistreat you and not be very kind. So and as they are in with other communities, okay? Other communities, and then on top of it, family, they don't support our businesses. Why are we supporting communities that would not support our own community? We have to get better. True enough, we can starve them out of our neighborhoods. Yeah, a lot of them will probably go online and sell so that, they figure you won't know who it is. But even you can find out, are they who they are. First of all, if you're buying anything off Amazon, the name of the company or the people that are selling it is usually on there. So I don't know. Copy and paste it into Google. Just make a determination of the origin of that name. Because there are plenty of black sellers online. There is a website, and I told you guys before, I don't remember it now, but there's a website, and if you Google it, you can find out, where it's nothing but black vendors. And that is black nail salons, black hair care, black beauty supplies, black barbers, black everything, black technicians, black repair people, whoever and whatever you can imagine that you can need. By doing that, we can focus on our community. We need to start pouring our money back into our community and stop putting it in others' communities, because we're not going to get anywhere doing that. The dollar in the black community stays in our community probably less than 4 hours. Less than 4 hours. Whereas in other communities, it can stay and circle in their community for weeks. Sometimes even a month. We have to get like that, and that would be the Asians. We have to get like that. We have to get to the point where we are ensuring that our dollar is remaining longer in our community. And we can do that. I have been to several countries. I will continue to travel to many more countries. Okay? And I travel to predominantly black countries. I travel to even like Belize. The people look like me. I can blend in. In Africa, in the Caribbean, the people look like us, so we can blend in. Not all of that crazy, nonsense like they've never seen black people before. I'm not going to go anywhere begging anybody to take my coin and to treat me like a human being who wants to treat me subpar. I'd rather not take my money to that place. I'd rather go somewhere else and pay my money and have a good time and be treated as I'm supposed to be treated when I'm spending my coin. So family, it's a lot going on, but think about that. Yeah, a lot of foundational black Americans are upset, and they're thinking that, okay, Africa is trying to steal the reparations. I am suspicious, but I refrain from saying that. I would say we must absolutely watch all parties involved. We must observe them, and we must, watch them and honestly review and give an overview of what we think that they're trying to do. But we just, I I was watching a couple of people and they were saying, well, legally this is what it is. That, see, we couldn't, not to say we couldn't, because I believe Johnny Cochran was preparing to do it, to take a case to the UN, to the United Nations, about reparations for foundational Black Americans. But he was unalived before he could complete what he was trying to do. So, they got to him. But, so they were saying that Ghana is a nation state, so only nation states can bring cases of whatever, atrocities or whatever, against, against one country to the UN. And because the United States are the representatives for us, that's why we can't. But see, I think that's BS. I believe that of all the black attorneys that we have, they could have gotten together, formed some kind of coalition, and filed a case with the UN. I think now there's a law, and I can't think of it right now, but there's a law that if you do that, you can be arrested. You can be charged with a crime because you're supposed to go to your government. But see, this is my thing with this. We went to this government. We have went to this government. We have begged. We have asked. We have demanded. We have protested. We have did everything that we were supposed to do. And still we get no leadway with these people. So I would think it would be legal that once you cannot come to any kind of resolution with your government, as citizens, you should be able to go to the UN and file a suit. That's what I think. Okay? But again, there's nobody, the Black Caucus, the Black Congressional Caucus, they're not doing it. There's nobody who is, advocating for reparations. Many are against it, especially, if they're an immigrant from another country here in America, whether they're black, they're white, they're Asian, it doesn't matter. A lot of them, don't want Black Americans or foundational Black Americans to receive reparations. And my question is why? If the UN has said that slavery was the cruelest thing and everybody who was enslaved needs to be made whole, that means many of you or other people that come here, you're due reparations from your country that or the country that colonized you. So to come here and say that we don't deserve it, it makes no sense, because it also then counters your chances and opportunities of getting it. It makes no sense. So I'm just saying, family, what I would not do is you can look at the list of countries that voted absolutely hell no, and then the countries that refrained from voting, and I would make a informed decision as to not travel to not one of them damn countries. I wouldn't go to not one of those countries and spend one quarter. I would prefer not to even do a layover in any of those countries, because you just can't, you can't. But notice that of all the countries that refrained or said no, they all have one thing in common. They're European nations. So they don't want to take responsibility for what they've done. But there's coming a time that it's going to happen either way. Alright, family, I thank you so much for joining me and for watching this video. Please like, share, and comment. I look forward to chatting it up with you guys in the comment section. And I want you to have a blessed one, okay? Peace, love, and blessings to you all, and Black Power. Okay, family? Take care. Bye-bye.